The day I got fired, Marcus handed me a notebook. Not flowers. Not a hug. Plain black notebook with lines. "You'll need this," he said, tapping the cover. "To track your half of everything. Bills come on the first. Can you handle that?" I stood in our kitchen, still wearing my work badge from the museum where I'd spent 5 years. They'd let me go that morning. Budget cuts, they said. Marcus had known for 3 hours. He'd been home, planning this speech instead of calling to check on me. "Write it down," he continued, opening the notebook to show me he'd already started. Electric bill, water bill, internet, groceries. All divided perfectly down the middle. "I've been supporting your career long enough. Time you learn to stand on your own. Before we continue, if you think marriages should be about helping each other, not keeping score, please subscribe. It helps other women find these stories." Now let's see what Marcus really meant by fair. I looked at that notebook with my name written on top in his neat handwriting. For 5 years, I'd been the one who remembered his mother's birthday. I'd been the one who picked up his dry cleaning on my lunch breaks. I'd been the one who learned to cook his favorite meals from scratch because restaurants never made them right. Every morning I woke up early to pack his lunch. Not because he asked. 'Cause I loved him. Or I thought I did. Now he stood there with his arms crossed, waiting for me to argue. Cry. To beg him to reconsider. "Okay," I said quietly. 50-50. That's fair. His eyebrows went up. Just for a second. Like he'd expected a fight. "Good," he said. "Glad you're being mature about this. I'll send you the full list by tonight." He walked away to his office. The same office I'd painted for him last summer. The same office where he worked from home in the air conditioning while I took the train to work every day to save money. The list arrived at 8 that night. 47 items long. He'd divided everything. Not just bills. Everything. Toilet paper, my weeks and his weeks. Soap. Separate bottles. Even the space in our apartment. He'd measured. The living room was 52% mine because I'd picked the couch. His bedroom was his alone now. Guest room was mine. Kitchen time scheduled. "This is insane," I whispered to myself, reading through his detailed notes. He'd included rules. No using his towels. No touching his food in the fridge. He'd even put tape down the middle of the bathroom counter. Blue tape. Like we were roommates who hated each other. My phone rang. My best friend Chin. "How are you holding up?" she asked. "Marcus just sent me a spreadsheet," I said. "A spreadsheet? For our marriage?" "He's divided our life into columns." Chin was quiet for a moment. "Do you want me to come over?" "No," I said, staring at the blue tape. "I want to play his game. And I want to win." That night I couldn't sleep. Marcus snored in his room while I lay in the guest bed, thinking. He wanted 50-50. Fine. But he forgot something important. I knew things. I knew he'd been charging his gym membership to our joint account for 2 years. I knew about the expensive dinners he expensed as business meals that weren't business. I knew about the watch he'd bought himself with our tax refund. Most importantly, I knew he couldn't cook. Couldn't clean. Couldn't remember to pay bills on time. Couldn't function like an adult without someone taking care of him. For 5 years I'd been his assistant, his chef, his maid, his social organizer. All for free. All because I thought that's what love looked like. Now he wanted to split everything. Perfect. Let's split it all. I got up and started making my own list. Every single thing I'd done for him. Every meal. Every errand. Every load of his laundry I'd washed. Every shirt I'd ironed. Every appointment I'd scheduled. By morning my list was 6 pages long. Marcus found me at the kitchen table with my laptop and calculator. "You're up early," he said, reaching for the coffee maker. Blick. Nothing happened. He tried again. Blick, blick, blick. "It's not working," he said. "It's working fine," I replied, not looking up. "It's just in my kitchen time zone now. You can use it after 9. "What?" "Your schedule. You have kitchen access from 9 to noon, and 6 to 9 at night. Right now it's 7:30. That's my time." His face turned red. This is ridiculous. It's just coffee. It's just rules, I said. Your rules. I'm following them exactly. He stared at me. Then he grabbed his keys and left. Probably going to the coffee shop downstairs. The expensive one that charged $7 for a small cup. I smiled and went back to my calculator. Ironing services in our city cost $20 per shirt. Marcus wore press shirts every single day. For 5 years. That's over $36,000. By the time Marcus came home that evening, I'd finished. My invoice sat on the dining table in a clear folder. Professional. Just like his notebook had been. He picked it up, frowning. What is this? My half, I said. You wanted everything divided fairly. So I divided it. That's what you owe me for 5 years of unpaid work. He opened the folder. I watched his eyes move down the page. Cooking services. $42,000. Cleaning services. $38,000. Personal assistant services. $55,000. Shopping and errand services. $21,000. Social planning and relationship management. $32,000. The total sat at the bottom in bold numbers. $188,000. You're joking, he said. I used average market rates, I explained. Everything's documented. I have receipts, photos, and time logs. I've been very thorough. This is crazy. You can't charge me for being a wife. You're charging me for being a roommate. What's the difference? Marcus threw the invoice on the table. I'm not paying this. That's okay, I said calmly. I made copies. One for my lawyer. One for the court. One for your mother. His face went pale. You wouldn't. Why not? You wanted a business relationship. Business relationships have contracts. And when one person doesn't pay their debts, there are consequences. He sat down slowly. For the first time since I'd known him, Marcus looked scared. What do you want, Sarah? I want you to understand something. Marriage isn't a business deal. It's not about keeping score. It's about being a team. I pulled out another folder. This one had photos. Remember this? I showed him a picture from our wedding. We look so happy. I remember loving you. I remember thinking we'd take care of each other. Not split everything down the middle like enemies. His hands shook as he held the photo. I thought you'd find another job quickly. I didn't think you'd need my help. I didn't need your money, Marcus. I needed my husband. The next morning something changed. Marcus made coffee for both of us. He didn't say anything. Just set a cup next to my computer and went to get ready for work. I stared at that cup for a long time. It was wrong though. Too much sugar. He'd forgotten I only took 1 spoonful now, not 2. He'd forgotten because he'd stopped paying attention years ago. When he came out dressed for work, he paused. I'm sorry, he said. Just those 2 words. For what? Asked. For the notebook. For the tape. For acting like marriage is about splitting checks. He sat down across from me. I was scared. When you lost your job, I got scared. Money's been tight and I panicked. So you pushed me away instead of talking to me? Yeah, I did. And that was wrong. I nodded slowly. That invoice on the table. I meant every word. Not because I want money. Because I want you to see what I've been doing. What I've always done. Not for payment. Because I loved you. We spent that whole weekend talking. Really talking. For the first time in years. Marcus admitted he'd been feeling pressure from his friends. They all had wives who worked high-paying jobs. They'd been making comments. Jokes about him supporting me. I let them get in my head, he said. I started seeing everything as transactions. Who paid more? Who contributed more? I forgot we were supposed to be partners. I showed him the spreadsheet I'd been keeping. Not for revenge. For clarity. Look at this. You make more money. That's true. But I save us thousands by cooking, cleaning, managing everything. We're a team. Both parts matter. He looked at the numbers. Really looked. You're right. I've been an idiot. Yes, you have. For the first time in days, he laughed. Actually laughed. Can we tear up both lists? The notebook and the invoice. I pretended to think about it. I don't know. I worked really hard on that invoice. Sarah. Okay. But the blue tape in the bathroom has to go first. That was just mean. We spent Sunday removing all of Marcus's zones. Tape came off. The divided shelves got mixed back together. The separate soap bottles seemed silly now. But I kept my invoice. Not on the table. In my desk drawer. A reminder of what happened when someone forgot that love isn't about ledgers. Marcus found it one day while looking for stamps. You kept this. As a reminder. For both of us. He read through it again more carefully this time. $188,000. That's really what you did. That's what it would cost to hire someone to do it. But I didn't do it for money. I did it because I thought we were building something together. Marcus folded the paper carefully. Can I keep this? Why? Because I never want to forget how close I came to losing you over a notebook. He put it in his own desk, right next to our wedding photo. 3 weeks after I lost my job, something arrived in the mail. Thick envelope. Marcus handed it to me nervously. Inside was a check. From him. What is this? Yes. Payment. For everything you've done. Everything I took for granted. The check was for $50,000. Half of what I'd invoiced. Marcus, I don't want. I know you don't want money. But I need to give this to you. Not as payment. As an apology. As recognition. Use it however you want. Start a business. Take a class. Save it. I don't care. It's yours because you earned it. I stared at the check. Felt wrong. But also right. This is really hard for you, isn't it? Admitting you were wrong. The hardest thing I've ever done. But nowhere near as hard as what you've been doing for 5 years without complaining. I folded the check. I'm going to use this to start something. A service for other people like me. People who don't know their worth. That's perfect, Marcus said. And I'll help. However you need. The idea came to me that night. A website. Calculator. Something that helped people see the value of unpaid work. Not to cause fights. To start conversations. I called it Know Your Worth. Simple. Direct. The website let people input their tasks. Cooking, cleaning, childcare, errands, planning. Then it calculated the market value. What it would cost to hire someone to do those things. Chin helped me build it. She was good with computers. Marcus helped too, researching average costs for different services. This is important, he said, typing numbers into the spreadsheet. People need to see this. The first week 20 people used it. The second week 200. By month 3 we had over 10,000 users. The messages started coming in. Stories from people all over. Some were like mine. Partners who demanded 50-50 splits without understanding what was already being contributed. Others were different. But all of them needed to see their value reflected back at them. One message stuck with me. From a woman named Rita. My husband said I didn't contribute anything because I don't work, she wrote. I showed him the calculator results. $163,000 a year. He cried. Actually cried. He'd never thought about it like that. Another message from David. I'm a stay-at-home dad. My wife's friends kept making jokes about me not working. I showed them this calculator. The jokes stopped. The website grew. News sites wrote about it. Some people loved it. Others said it was silly. That you can't put a price on love. They were right. Can't. But you can put a price on labor. And that's what this was about. Recognizing that work is work, whether it comes with a paycheck or not. Marcus started sharing the site at his office. His boss saw it. This is brilliant, she said. We should talk about how we value unpaid labor in our company benefits. That conversation led to changes. better parental leave, flexible schedules, recognition of caregiver responsibilities. 6 months after I lost my job, I got a new one. Not at another museum. At a company that helped families manage household labor fairly. They'd seen my website. They wanted me to help them build tools for balance. The salary was good. Better than my museum job. But more importantly, the work mattered. My first day, the CEO shook my hand. "Your invoice story inspired this company," she said. "We think every household should understand the economics of unpaid work." I built training programs, workshops for couples, tools for families, all based on what I'd learned from my own experience. Marcus came to my first big presentation. 200 people in the audience. Business leaders, HR professionals, therapists. "Unpaid work is invisible," I told them. "We don't see it because we're taught not to. We're taught that love means doing things without expectation. And that's true. But it's also true that everyone deserves recognition. Everyone deserves to be valued." The applause was loud. Long Marcus stood up first. Then others followed. Standing ovation for talking about housework. Strange, but also perfect. The company grew fast. Within a year, we had contracts with 50 major corporations. They used our tools to help their employees balance work and home life better. Marcus's company was one of them. The same friends who'd made jokes about him supporting me. They were using our workshops now. Learning to value their partner's contributions. One of them apologized to Marcus. "I'm sorry for what I said. About your wife not working. I didn't understand." Marcus told me about it that night. He gets it now. His wife showed him your calculator. Turns out she's been doing about $80,000 worth of work a year. Unpaid. How did he react? He gave her access to their savings account for the first time in 10 years. Small changes. But they mattered. That's what I learned. Big societal problems get solved through small personal revelations. One household at a time. One conversation at a time. One calculator result at a time. Chin called it a movement. I just called it fairness. 2 years after the notebook incident, Marcus and I sat down to make a real plan. Not a division of chores. Partnership agreement. "What do you need from me?" he asked. "What do you need from me?" Ask back. We made lists. Real lists. His needs. Clean clothes for work, healthy meals, a tidy space to relax, time for his hobbies. My needs. Respect for my work, help with decisions, emotional support, time for my hobbies. Then we figured out how to meet those needs together. Not 50-50. Fairly. Some weeks Marcus did more. When I had big projects. Some weeks I did more. When he was swamped at work. The difference was we talked about it. We noticed. We appreciated. "This is so much better than the notebook," Marcus said. "The notebook was punishment," I replied. "This is partnership." We hung our agreement on the fridge. Not rules. Reminders. Reminders that we were on the same team. That we'd chosen each other. That marriage was about building together, not keeping score. My company started getting letters. Not emails. Actual handwritten letters. From grandmothers. From great-grandmothers. Women in their 70s and 80s. "I wish this existed 50 years ago," one wrote. "I spent my whole marriage invisible. My husband was a good man. But he never saw what I did. Never valued it. I'm 83 now. Too late for me. But not too late for my granddaughters." Those letters broke my heart and filled it at the same time. We'd started something important. A conversation that should have happened generations ago. Marcus helped me create a scholarship fund. For older women who wanted to go back to school or start businesses. Named after his mother. She'd been a housewife her whole life. Never worked outside the home. Marcus had never thought about what that meant until my invoice. "Mom did everything," he said. "Raised 4 kids. Managed Dad's social life. Kept the house perfect. Never got a penny that was truly hers. Does she know about the scholarship?" I told her last week. She cried. Said it was the first time anyone recognized her work as real. The third year, something unexpected happened. Man reached out. Daniel. His wife had died suddenly. Heart attack. 42 years old. I never knew how much she did, he wrote. I thought I helped. I thought we were equal. Then she was gone and I realized I didn't know how to do anything. I didn't know where the insurance papers were. I didn't know the kids' doctors' names. I didn't know what we spent on groceries. She'd managed everything, while also working full-time. And I thought I was being helpful by doing the dishes sometimes. His message went viral when we shared it with permission. Millions of people read it. The comments were divided. Some women said, typical. Some men said, this is me. But everyone agreed. Things needed to change. Daniel became a spokesperson for our cause. He spoke at schools, at businesses, community centers. Learn what your partner does, he'd say. Don't wait until they're gone. Don't wait until you're lost. Learn now. Participate now. Value them now. Marcus started doing something new. Every Sunday he'd take over completely. Everything. Cooking, cleaning, planning, organizing. I'm practicing, he explained. Practicing for what? For being able to function without you. Not because I want to. 'Cause I need to know I could. Because you need to know you're not trapped here because I can't survive alone. It was the most loving thing he'd ever done. Recognizing that independence wasn't a threat. It was a foundation. I did the same with money. Learned about our investments. Understood our taxes. Took control of half our accounts. Not because I didn't trust him. Because I needed to trust myself. We were building something different. A marriage where both people were whole individuals who chose to be together. Not halves trying to make a whole. Not dependencies masquerading as love. Whole people. Choosing partnership. Every single day. The notebook was still in my desk. Next to my invoice. Reminders of what happens when fear takes over. When ego gets involved. When we forget what really matters. My company launched an app. Fair Share it was called. Helped couples track household labor. Not to fight about it. To see patterns. To have data for conversations. It exploded. 5 million downloads in the first month. Couples would message us. We had no idea I was doing 70% of the work. We thought we were equal, but the app showed we weren't. This saved our marriage. Some people hated it. Called it unromantic. Said we were destroying the magic of relationships. But romance isn't magic. It's choice. It's effort. Seeing your partner and choosing to value them. Every day. The app had a feature Marcus suggested. Appreciation alerts. Random reminders to thank your partner for something specific they'd done. Not generic. Specific. Thank them for meal planning this week. Thank them for handling that difficult phone call. Thank them for remembering your mother's birthday. Small things. But they added up. 5 years after the notebook, Marcus and I were invited to speak at a conference. About modern marriage. About partnership. About fairness. We stood on stage together. He told his side of the story. I was an idiot, he said, and the audience laughed. I thought splitting everything 50-50 was fair. I thought I was being modern and equal. What I was actually doing was ignoring reality. Ignoring all the invisible work my wife did. Work that kept our life running smoothly. I told my side. I was angry. Really angry. But anger was useful. Helped me see clearly. Helped me understand my worth. It helped me build something that could help others. We showed the original notebook. The blue tape. The invoice. Physical props of our near disaster. This almost destroyed us, Marcus said. But it also saved us, I added. Because it forced us to be honest. To really see each other. To build something real instead of something convenient. The questions from the audience were tough. One woman asked, "What if your partner refuses to change? What if they see the calculator and still don't care?" I didn't sugarcoat it. Then you have information. Information about what your relationship really is. And you can make choices based on reality instead of hope. Another question. Isn't this just keeping score? Isn't that bad for relationships? Marcus answered this one. Keeping score is when you hold things over someone's head. This is different. This is awareness. You can't be fair if you don't know what fair looks like. A man raised his hand. I feel attacked by this. Like everything I do is wrong. That's not the point, I said gently. The point isn't guilt. It's growth. Nobody gets it perfect. We certainly don't. But we try. We notice. We adjust. That's all anyone can do. The conference ended with people lining up. Wanting to share their stories. Wanting advice. Wanting hope. We stayed for hours. Listening. Learning. Growing. Year 7 brought a surprise. Marcus's company wanted to hire me. As a consultant. To redesign their entire approach to work-life balance. You? Yes. Your company wants to hire me. The CEO saw your conference talk. She's convinced you could change our whole culture. It was strange. Full circle. The same company that had indirectly caused our crisis now wanted to fix things. Took the job. 3 days a week. Good pay. Important work. My first meeting was with Marcus's old friends. The ones who'd made jokes. The ones who'd planted seeds of resentment. They were different now. Quieter. More thoughtful. We owe you an apology, one said. We said things to Marcus. Stupid things. We didn't understand. Do you understand now? Yes. Yeah. My wife showed me your calculator. Turns out she's been doing about 70% of our household management. While working full-time. I had no idea. So what are you doing differently? Everything. I'm actually parenting my kids now. Not babysitting. Parenting. I'm doing real housework. Not helping. Doing. Progress. Low. Imperfect. But real. The program I built for Marcus's company was simple. Every employee took a household labor assessment. Anonymous. Just to see patterns. The results shocked everyone. Women employees were doing an average of 25 hours of household work per week. On top of their jobs. Men employees averaged 9 hours. That's not a small gap, the CEO said. That's a crisis. We implemented changes. Flexible schedules. Remote work options. Pay time for school events. Housework stipends. Mandatory equal parental leave. Some employees loved it. Others complained. This is too much. Work is work. Home is home. But the CEO stood firm. Our employees are whole people. If they're exhausted at home, they can't perform at work. This isn't charity. It's smart business. Within 6 months, productivity went up. Turnover went down. Employee satisfaction soared. Turned out when you treat people like complete humans with complete lives, they thrive. Revolutionary. Or should have been obvious. Depending on your perspective. My favorite part of the job was the workshops. Teaching people to see invisible work. I'd bring props. Basket of laundry. Who folds this in your house? Calendar. Who schedules doctor appointments? A grocery list. Who plans meals? Then we'd assign dollar values. Market rates for each task. The room would get quiet as people did the math. Marriages were represented by thousands of dollars in unpaid labor. Often unequally distributed. This isn't about money, I'd remind them. It's about visibility. It's about value. It's about having the data to have honest conversations. One man stood up crying. I never knew. My wife has been telling me for years she's drowning. I thought she was exaggerating. She wasn't. She's been doing $70,000 worth of work. Unpaid. Unnoticed. I need to go home and apologize. He left the workshop early. His co-workers told me later he went home and took over everything for a month. Gave his wife a real break. First one in 15 years. Not every story had a happy ending. Some people used the calculator and realized their marriages couldn't be saved. One woman messaged me. I showed my husband the results. He laughed. Said I was stupid for doing so much work that nobody asked me to do. Said if I was tired I should stop doing things. Stop caring so much. She'd left him. 3 kids. Terry. Uncertain. But free. Your calculator didn't ruin my marriage, she wrote. It showed me my marriage was already ruined. It gave me permission to admit it. Those messages were hard, but necessary. Sometimes fairness means recognizing unfairness. Sometimes love means leaving. I couldn't save every marriage. Wasn't trying to. I was trying to give people clarity. What they did with that clarity was their choice. Marcus and I volunteered to mentor divorcing couples sometimes, helping them split things fairly. Recognizing contributions. Not with bitterness. With honesty. It was healing work. For them and for us. Reminder of how close we'd come to that same end. Year 9 we won an award. Innovators in Family Equity. Fancy dinner. Beaches. Photos. Marcus wore a new suit. I wore a dress I actually liked. Not one I thought I should wear. The presenter read our story. The notebook. The invoice. The company. The movement. Sarah and Marcus Chen transformed a personal crisis into a social revolution, she said. They helped millions of people see invisible work and value invisible contributions. We walked on stage holding hands. The same hands that had signed that awful notebook. The same hands that had torn it up. The same hands that had built something better. We almost lost each other, I said into the microphone. Over money. Over fairness. Over ego. But we found each other again. And we want everyone to have that chance. The chance to see clearly. To choose consciously. To build fairly. The applause felt good. But better was Marcus squeezing my hand. Whispering, we did it. Together. The award money went into the scholarship fund. More women going back to school. More people starting businesses. More recognition of unpaid work. We got thank you notes. Photos of graduate. Our 10th anniversary was quiet. Just us. No big party. We went back to where we got married. The park where we'd said our vows. We should renew them, Marcus suggested. Different vows this time. We sat on a bench and wrote new promises. Not about forever. About today. Not about roles. About respect. Not about tradition. About truth. Marcus went first. I promise to see you. Really see you. Every day. I promise to value what you do. Even when it's invisible. I promise to be a full partner. Not a dependent child. My turn. I promise to speak up. Tell you what I need. To not keep score but to keep track. To build with you, not for you. To stay whole while choosing us. We didn't need an officiant. Didn't need witnesses. Just needed each other and honesty. Think we'll make it another 10 years? Marcus asked. If we keep talking. If we keep trying. If we keep seeing each other clearly. I can do that. Me too. Kissed. Same kiss as 10 years ago. But different. 'Cause we were different. Better. The company reached a milestone. 100 million people using our tools. 100 million households having conversations about fairness. The data was incredible. Households using our app reported 68% more satisfaction. 42% better communication. 55% more equal distribution of labor. Numbers that represented real lives. Real changes. Real progress. We published a book. The Fairness Formula. Part memoir, part how-to guide, part call to action. It sat on bestseller lists for months. People read it in book clubs. Discussed it with their partners. Used it to have hard conversations. Some reviews were angry. This ruins romance. This makes marriage transactional. This is feminist propaganda. We read them all. Learned from them. Adjusted our message. But didn't back down. Because fairness isn't feminist. It's human. Valuing work isn't transactional. It's honest. Seeing clearly isn't unromantic. It's respectful. The positive reviews far outnumbered the negative. This saved my marriage. This gave me permission to leave. This helped me see my worth. Those were the reviews that mattered. Marcus retired early. 45. I want to do this full time, he said. The workshops, the speaking, the movement. This matters more than hedge funds and quarterly reports. His company threw him a party. His boss gave a speech. Marcus taught us that success isn't just about profit. It's about people. About seeing the whole person. About building systems that honor everyone's contributions. Funny how things change. The same people who'd pressured him into that notebook now celebrated him for fighting against that mindset. Growth is weird like that. We expanded the company. Hired 50 people. Opened offices in 3 countries. Created versions of our tools in 12 languages. Fairness was universal. The language might change, but the need was the same everywhere. People everywhere wanted to be seen, valued, appreciated. For everything they did, not just what showed up in bank accounts. We weren't just changing marriages. We were changing culture. One household. One conversation. One calculator result at a time. Slow work. Important work. Forever work. Year 12 brought challenges. Competing company launched. Equal home, they called it. Similar tools. Different approach. More focused on strict 50-50 splits. Their marketing attacked us. Fair share is too soft. Too emotional. True equality means equal numbers. Period. It hurt watching them grow. Watching some people switch to their platform. Watching our message get twisted. We're not the same, I told our team. They're about division. We're about recognition. There's a difference. But was there? In the market. In people's minds. We held focus groups. Talked to users. Asked what mattered. The answers were clear. Your way acknowledges reality. Theirs ignores it. You helped us find balance. They're trying to enforce it. We don't want a referee. We want a mirror. We doubled down on our approach. Fairness over equality. Recognition over division. Reality over formulas. Our users stayed loyal. Grew even. Because people knew the difference between rules and respect. Between scorekeeping and seeing. Between forcing and facilitating. The competitor eventually folded. Turns out people don't want their marriages run like math problems. We started a podcast. Real talk about real life. Every week a different couple. Different story. Different struggle. Different solution. Some episodes were about money. Some about time. Some about respect. All about fairness. The downloads shocked us. Millions of people listening to regular couples talk about household labor. About invisible work. About finding balance. One episode went viral. A couple where both people worked full-time. Both made the same salary. Both thought they were equal. Until they tracked everything for a month. He did 12 hours of household work per week. She did 38. I had no idea, he said on the podcast. I thought helping with dishes and playing with the kids was enough. I didn't see meal planning, schedule management, mental load. All invisible. All her. They'd used our tools to rebalance. 3 months later they came back. Everything's different. Better. We're actually partners now. Comments on that episode hit 10,000. People sharing their own numbers. Their own wake-up calls. Their own journeys to fairness. Marcus's mother passed away in year 13. Peacefully. In her sleep. At the funeral. His father stood at the podium struggling. I didn't appreciate her enough, he said, voice breaking. She ran everything. A home. Family. Or life. I thought I was the important one because I made the money. I was wrong. He pulled out a piece of paper. My son helped me calculate what my wife's work was worth. 60 years of unpaid labor. $2.3 million. The church went silent. I can't pay her back now. She's gone. So I'm paying it forward. He announced a foundation. In her name. Supporting women's financial independence. funding household labor research, changing laws around divorce and asset division. My wife deserved better. Your wives deserve better. We all need to do better. Marcus cried. Cried. Everyone cried. One man's realization. Too late for his wife. But not too late for change. That's how movements grow. Through loss. Through recognition. Through determination to honor what was lost by changing what remains. Our 10th anniversary was quiet. Just us. No big party. We went back to where we got married. The park where we'd said our vows. We should renew them, Marcus suggested. Different vows this time. We sat on a bench and wrote new promises. Not about forever. About today. Not about roles. About respect. Not about tradition. About truth. Marcus went first. I promise to see you. Really see you. Every day. I promise to value what you do, even when it's invisible. I promise to be a full partner, not a dependent child. My turn. I promise to speak up. Tell you what I need. To not keep score but to keep track. To build with you, not for you. To stay whole while choosing us. We didn't need an officiant. Didn't need witnesses. Just needed each other and honesty. Think we'll make it another 10 years? Marcus asked. If we keep talking. If we keep trying. If we keep seeing each other clearly. I can do that. Me too. Kissed. Same kiss as 10 years ago. But different. 'Cause we were different. Better. The company reached a milestone. 100 million people using our tools. 100 million households having conversations about fairness. The data was incredible. Households using our app reported 68% more satisfaction, 42% better communication, 55% more equal distribution of labor. Numbers that represented real lives, real changes, real progress. We published a book. The Fairness Formula. Part memoir, part how-to guide, part call to action. It sat on bestseller lists for months. People read it in book clubs. Discussed it with their partners. Used it to have hard conversations. Some reviews were angry. This ruins romance. This makes marriage transactional. This is feminist propaganda. We read them all. Learned from them. Adjusted our message. But didn't back down. Because fairness isn't feminist. It's human. Valuing work isn't transactional. It's honest. Seeing clearly isn't unromantic. It's respectful. The positive reviews far outnumbered the negative. This saved my marriage. This gave me permission to leave. This helped me see my worth. Those were the reviews that mattered. Marcus retired early. 45. I want to do this full time, he said. The workshops, the speaking, the movement. This matters more than hedge funds and quarterly reports. His company threw him a party. His boss gave a speech. Marcus taught us that success isn't just about profit. It's about people. About seeing the whole person. About building systems that honor everyone's contributions. Funny how things change. The same people who'd pressured him into that notebook now celebrated him for fighting against that mindset. Growth is weird like that. We expanded the company. Hired 50 people. Opened offices in 3 countries. Created versions of our tools in 12 languages. Fairness was universal. The language might change, but the need was the same everywhere. People everywhere wanted to be seen, valued, appreciated. For everything they did, not just what showed up in bank accounts. We weren't just changing marriages. We were changing culture. One household. One conversation. One calculator result at a time. Slow work. Important work. Forever work. Year 12 brought challenges. Competing company launched. Equal home they called it. Similar tools. Different approach. More focused on strict 50-50 splits. Their marketing attacked us. Fair share is too soft. Too emotional. True equality means equal numbers. Period. It hurt watching them grow. watching some people switch to their platform, watching our message get twisted. We're not the same, I told our team. They're about division. We're about recognition. There's a difference. But was there? In the market. In people's minds. We held focus groups, talked to users, asked what mattered. The answers were clear. Your way acknowledges reality. Theirs ignores it. You helped us find balance. They're trying to enforce it. We don't want a referee. We want a mirror. We doubled down on our approach. Fairness over equality. Recognition over division. Reality over formulas. Our users stayed loyal. Grew even. Because people knew the difference between rules and respect. The foundation changed things fast. Lobbying for laws that recognized unpaid labor in divorces. Fighting for Social Security credits for caregivers. Pushing for universal childcare. Big structural changes. Not just individual awareness. We partnered with them. Combined our data with their resources. Created policy proposals. Testified before Congress. It was surreal. Standing in government buildings talking about laundry and meal planning. But also exactly right. Because policy is personal. Laws shape lives. And lives had been shaped unfairly for too long. Some politicians got it immediately. Others looked confused. You want us to legislate housework. We want you to recognize economic value wherever it exists, I explained. Including in homes. Including in unpaid work that keeps society functioning. Took 3 years. But laws started changing. Slowly. State by state. Recognition of household labor as economic contribution. Requirements for fair asset division. Credits and benefits for caregivers. Progress. Imperfect. Incomplete. But real. And every changed law meant changed lives. Meant people being seen. Being valued. Being treated fairly. Our daughter was born in year 15. Unexpected. Wonderful. Terrifying. We named her Grace. For the grace we'd given each other. The grace that saved our marriage. The grace we hoped to build into the world. From day one we split everything. Actually split it. Not Marcus helping with his baby. Both of us parenting our baby. Feeding, changing, rocking, soothing. Equally. Naturally. Without tracking or scorekeeping. Just partnership. People were shocked. Marcus does night feedings. Marcus does every other night feeding. Course he does. She's his daughter too. The looks we got. Like he deserved medals for basic parenting. Like I should be grateful he wasn't useless. The bar was so low it was underground. We documented everything. Not to brag. To normalize. Posted about splitting parental leave equally. About both of us being tired. About both of us being fulfilled. About raising a daughter who'd see both parents as full humans. Comments ranged from supportive to hostile. You're emasculating your husband. No, I'm humanizing my marriage. Children need their mothers more. Children need present parents. Gender doesn't matter. Fighting the same fights. Different battlefield. Grace grew up in our office sometimes. Sitting in on meetings. Listening to podcast recordings. Watching her parents talk about fairness like other kids watched cartoons. 3. She asked a question. Why do you talk about work so much? Because some work is invisible, Marcus explained. Like when mama makes your lunch. That's work. When I fold your clothes. That's work. When we plan your birthday party. That's work. But you don't get paid. Not with money. But we should get paid with thank you and appreciation and recognition. She thought about this. I appreciate you, Papa. Thank you, Gracie. I appreciate you too. Simple lessons. Early lessons. Teaching her that all work has value. That everyone deserves recognition. That fairness isn't about being the same. It's about being seen. We were raising her differently. Teaching her to notice work. To value contributions. To expect partnership. She'd grow up knowing she deserved better than we'd almost settled for. That was the point. Every generation doing a little better. learning from the last one's mistakes, building something more fair. Year 18 brought full circle moments. The museum where I'd worked reopened a position. Director of Community Programs. They wanted me. "We've followed your work," the board president said. "You transformed a personal setback into a social movement. Imagine what you could do here." Almost said no. My company was thriving. The work was important. Why go back? But Marcus saw something I didn't. "You've been fighting the same battle for 15 years. Maybe it's time to declare victory and move on. Show people that fairness doesn't mean doing one thing forever. It means having choices." He was right. Took the job. Part-time. Kept my company involvement part-time. Balanced both. Showed Grace that mothers could have complex careers and still be present. First week back at the museum, I ran into Margaret. My old boss. The one who'd fired me. "Sarah, I owe you an apology." "For what?" "For letting you go. It wasn't about budget cuts. The new CEO didn't like that you questioned his hiring practices. I should have fought for you." "I didn't. Thank you for telling me." She handed me a donation check. "For my foundation. $50,000. Can't give you your job back. It's not mine to give. But I can support what you built from losing it." The museum work was different. Good different. Teaching kids about art and history and seeing the world clearly. I created programs about invisible labor throughout history. How women's work was erased from records. How enslaved people's contributions were stolen. How entire populations' labor went unrecognized. Kids got it immediately. "That's not fair." "You're right. It's not. What should we do about it?" They had ideas. Good ones. Recognition walls. Changed textbooks. New exhibits highlighting hidden workers. We implemented their ideas. Gave them credit. Showed them their work mattered. That their voices could change things. Grace would visit sometimes. She'd walk through exhibits with her class. I'd watch her explaining to friends. "My mom made this. She teaches about people who got forgotten. So we remember them now." Pride burst through me. Not because she was bragging. 'Cause she understood. The work wasn't about me. It was about visibility. About changing what stories get told and how. About making sure the next generation saw more clearly than ours had. Marcus and I wrote a second book. Raising Fair. About parenting with equity. About teaching kids to see work. To value contributions. To build partnerships instead of dependencies. It sold even better than the first. Parents everywhere were hungry for this. For permission to raise kids differently. For tools to teach fairness early. We got invited to schools. Parent groups. To conferences. Always the same questions. How do I teach my son to value household work? How do I teach my daughter she deserves partnership? How do I undo the messages they're getting everywhere else? Our answers were simple. Model it. Talk about it. Make it normal. When you do laundry, explain it's work that matters. When your partner cooks, thank them specifically. When you divide tasks, include kids in the conversation. Make fairness visible. Make it normal. Make it expected. Some parents resisted. Kids shouldn't worry about this stuff. Let them be kids. Kids notice everything. They're already learning. We're just making sure they're learning truth instead of lies. Harsh words, but necessary, because unconscious bias gets passed down through generations. Unless we interrupt it. Consciously. Deliberately. Repeatedly. Year 20. 2 decades since the notebook. Since the almost end. Since the new beginning. We threw a party. Not to celebrate us. To celebrate everyone. All the people who'd used our tools. Changed their lives. Built something fairer. The venue was packed. Hundreds of people. Some we knew. Most we didn't. They shared stories. I used your calculator before getting married. Showed my fiancé. We built our partnership on fairness from day one. I used your app during my divorce. Got recognition for 20 years of unpaid work. I used your podcast to find courage to have hard conversations. My marriage is better now. I used your book to teach my kids. They're growing up different. Better. Marcus squeezed my hand. We did good. We did. But it's not finished. It's never finished. That's the point. He was right. Fairness isn't a destination. It's a practice. Daily. Ongoing. Forever. 'Cause people forget. Systems resist. Old patterns resurface. The work continues. Always. That's not depressing. It's realistic. And realistic hope is stronger than false optimism any day. Grace graduated high school. Valedictorian. Her speech was about invisible work. About her parents' story. About growing up understanding value beyond money. My father almost destroyed my family over a notebook, she said. But he didn't. 'Cause he learned to see. My mother almost gave up. But she didn't. Because she learned her worth. They taught me that fairness is a choice we make every day. That seeing clearly is an act of love. That recognizing value is how we honor each other. Standing ovation. We cried. Obviously. Afterward, kids surrounded her. Asking questions. Sharing their own family stories. Parents thanked us. Your story changed our family. Thank you for being brave enough to share it. We weren't brave. We were desperate. Then honest. Then committed. Bravery came later. Grew over time. Became something sustainable instead of something flashy. That's how real change works. Not dramatic moments. Consistent choices. Day after day. Year after year. Until new patterns replace old ones. Until fairness becomes normal instead of revolutionary. The company reached a crossroads. Go public. Sell to investors. Expand dramatically. Or stay small. Stay mission-focused. Stay true. I chose true. Turned down buyout offers that would have made us rich. Millions. Maybe tens of millions. Why? Investors asked. Because money changes things. Priorities shift. Suddenly we're serving shareholders instead of families. We've seen it happen. We won't let it happen to us. Some people thought we were crazy. Probably were. But we slept well. Knowing our tools stayed accessible. Knowing our mission stayed clear. Knowing we'd chosen values over value. Our team stayed small. 50 people total. Everyone paid fairly. Everyone's contributions recognized. Everyone with real voice in decisions. We practiced what we preached. Not perfectly. But consistently. And when we messed up, we acknowledged it. Fixed it. Learned from it. That's all anyone can do. Why? Notice. Just. Repeat. Forever. It's not glamorous. It's not easy. But it's real. And real beats perfect every single time. Marcus started having health problems at 55. Nothing serious. Just age. Just life. But it scared him. What if I die first? What if you're alone? Then I'll be okay. Because you taught me I can be. What if I become dependent? What if you have to take care of me? Then I will. 'Cause I choose to. Not because I have to. Because I want to. The difference mattered. He'd spent our early marriage assuming I'd care for him because that's what wives do. Now he understood I'd care for him because that's what partners choose. When they want to. When it's based on love instead of expectation. I wasted so many years, he said. No, you learned. That's not waste. That's growth. I almost lost you over 50-50. But you didn't. We found something better. Something real. We renewed our vows again. Different ones. About choosing each other. About supporting each other. About seeing each other. About building together until we couldn't anymore. Then trusting that we'd built enough. That love wasn't about forever. It was about fully. About being completely present for however long we had. Grace went to college. Studied economics and gender studies. Course she did. She'd been preparing her whole life. Her thesis was about household labor valuation across cultures. How different societies recognized or erased unpaid work. How economic systems depended on invisible contributions. How policy could change everything. I'm following your path, she told us. No, I said. You're making your own path. We just showed you one was possible. She graduated with honors. Job offers from everywhere. Think tanks, universities, non-profits, corporations. She chose a small research institute, focused on economic justice, lower pay, higher purpose. I learned from watching you, she said. Money matters, but mission matters more. Impact matters most. Marcus cried. We raised her right. We raised her. She chose right. The distinction mattered. We couldn't take credit for her choices, just for giving her information, options, examples. The rest was hers. That's good parenting. Not controlling outcomes. Creating conditions for kids to find their own way. To build their own versions of good lives. To learn from our mistakes while making their own. To grow beyond us while remembering where they came from. Year 25. Quarter century. Silver anniversary. We went back to where it started. Penthouse. We'd moved years ago. Smaller place. More practical. But the current owners let us visit. For closure. For memory. For perspective. The space looked different. New furniture. New paint. New life. But the bones were the same. Kitchen where the coffee maker wars happened. Bathroom where blue tape divided us. Living room where zones had split our marriage. Hard to believe we almost ended here, Marcus said. Hard to believe we survived it. More than survived. Thrived. We stood where the dining table had been. Where he'd slid that notebook across. Where I'd slid my invoice back. Best worst day of our lives, I said. What? That day. With a notebook. Worst because it almost destroyed us. Best because it forced us to see clearly. Change. To build something real. Marcus pulled out his wallet. From it, he removed a worn piece of paper. Folded small. Fragile with age. My invoice. The original. You kept it. Always. Reminder of how badly I messed up. How close I came to losing everything that mattered. I kept the notebook. Same reason. We laughed. Two people carrying their almost destruction like treasured possessions. Because that's what they were. Proof we could face the worst of ourselves and choose better. The movement continued without us at the center. That was the goal. Make fairness so normal we weren't needed anymore. Weren't there yet. But closer. Laws had changed in 38 states. Recognizing household labor. Protecting caregivers. Valuing invisible work. Corporations had changed policies. Flexible work. Equal leave. Fair compensation structures. Schools taught about household economics. Kids learned to value all contributions. To expect partnership. To build fairly. We'd become footnotes. People who started something. But not people who owned it. That's exactly right. Movements aren't about founders. They're about ideas spreading. Growing. Becoming so obvious people forget they weren't always true. Remember when people thought household work didn't count? Future generations would ask. That's so weird. Weird. Like so many things that used to be normal until enough people said, this isn't right, and changed it. That's how progress works. Slowly. Through many people. Making many small choices. Until the weight of those choices shifts entire cultures. We were part of that weight. Important part. But just part. That's enough. More than enough. Marcus got sick at 60. Cancer. Treatable but serious. I became his caregiver. Drove him to appointments. Managed his medications. Held his hand through treatments. I'm a burden, he said once. You're my husband. That's different. You're doing so much. All this work. Unpaid again. I'm doing this because I love you. Because we're partners. Because 25 years ago you learned to see me. Now I see you. The difference between burden and care is choice. Is love. Is partnership built over decades. I tracked everything anyway. Not to bill him. To show him. Look, this is what caregiving costs. 40 hours this week. Medical transportation. meal preparation, medication management, emotional support. $62,000 annually if we paid someone. Why are you showing me this? Because your value doesn't come from what you can do. Comes from who you are. You're valuable even when you're sick. Even when you need care. That's what you taught me. I'm teaching you back. He cried, understanding finally, completely, that worth isn't about productivity. It's about humanity. About being seen as whole people. Always. Especially when we're vulnerable. He recovered. Slowly. Gradually. Different than before but alive. Grateful. Changed again. I want to do something, he said. What? Use my remaining time teaching men. Specifically teaching men. How to see. How to value. How to be real partners. He started a mentorship program. Men teaching younger men. Not about success. About partnership. About recognizing contributions. About being fully human instead of partially functional. The first session had 5 guys. Next month 20. By the end of the year, 300 men meeting regularly. Learning. Growing. Changing. My cancer was a gift, Marcus said. Weird gift. Made me realize time is limited. Impact matters. I don't want to die knowing I only fixed my own mistakes. I want to help other men fix theirs before it's too late. The program spread. Other cities. Other countries. Men learning from men who'd learned the hard way. Teaching the lessons Marcus wished someone had taught him 30 years earlier. Before the notebook. Before the near disaster. Before almost losing everything over ego and ignorance. Grace got married at 30. Jamie. They'd met at the Research Institute. Both economists. Both focused on labor justice. Their wedding vows were beautiful. I promise to see your work, paid and unpaid, as valuable. I promise to share our life equally, not perfectly but consciously. I promise to build fairness with you every single day. I promise to choose you while staying whole myself. Perfect vows. Better than ours. Built on our foundation. Standing on our shoulders. Reaching higher. That's how it should be. Jamie's vows matched. Both of them promising partnership. Promising awareness. Promising effort. Not promising perfect. Promising real. At the reception, Marcus gave a toast. 30 years ago, I almost destroyed my marriage. With a notebook. With ego. With blindness. But my wife saved us. Taught me to see. Taught me to value. Taught me to be a real partner. Grace, Jamie, you're starting where we ended up. Build from there. Go further. Do better. That's how progress works. Everyone cried. Obviously. 'Cause everyone knew our story. Everyone had learned from it. Everyone was trying to do better. That's legacy. Not perfection. Progress. Passing forward what we learned. Hoping the next generation builds higher. We retired at 65. Both of us. Same day. Handed our company to trusted leaders. Stepped back. Watched it continue without us. Strange feeling. The work we'd built from disaster. Now standing alone. Thriving alone. Grace took over some of our speaking engagements. Better speaker than us anyway. Clearer. Sharper. More relevant to her generation. We became elders. Not leaders. People asked our advice. We gave it. But we didn't decide anymore. Didn't control. Just supported. Cheered. That's the right way to age. Not clinging to relevance. Finding new ways to contribute. Different ways. Smaller ways. Marcus started painting. Terrible at it. Loved it anyway. I wrote poetry. Also terrible. Also loved it. We traveled. Slowly. Carefully. Old people traveling. Seeing the world we'd tried to change. Seeing changes we'd contributed to. Seeing work still needed. But not needing to do it ourselves. Younger people had it now. Stronger people. Clearer thinkers. Better equipped. Our job was to rest. To enjoy. To let go while staying connected. Hard work. Different work. Important work. The work of finishing well. Our 50th anniversary was small. Just family. Grace and Jamie brought their kids. Our grandkids. Twin girls. 7 years old. Full of questions. Grammy, why do you and Poppy talk about work so much? Because all work matters, sweetheart. Even work that's hard to see. What's hard to see? Like when your mama makes your lunch. That's work. When your other parent does laundry. That's work. When anyone does things that help the family. That's all work. Do you get paid? Sometimes yes. Sometimes no. But everyone should get thank you and recognition and appreciation. I appreciate you, Grammy. Thank you, love. I appreciate you too. Same conversation I'd had with Grace. Same lessons. Continuing. The girls would grow up different. Seeing clearly from the start. Expecting fairness from the beginning. Not having to learn it the hard way like we did. That's multi-generational progress. Each generation starting a little ahead. Learning a little earlier. Doing a little better. Until someday fairness is just normal. Just expected. Just how things are. We won't see that day. But our grandkids might. That's enough. More than enough. Marcus's health declined at 72. Not cancer this time. Just wearing out. He needed more care. More help. More time. Gave it. Gladly. Not because I had to. 'Cause I wanted to. Because 50 years of partnership meant something. Meant everything. You don't have to do this, he said. I know. I choose to. I'm taking so much of your time. You gave me 50 years. I'll give you however long you need. He smiled. Weak but real. Did we do good? With our lives. We did good. We started broken. We built better. We helped others do the same. That's good. I love you. Always have. Even when I was too stupid to show it right. I know. I love you too. That's why we made it. That's why we made it. Simple truth. Love wasn't enough alone. But love plus effort. Love plus seeing clearly. Love plus choosing fairness. That was enough. That built something lasting. Something real. Something worth celebrating even as it ended. 'Cause everything ends. But what we built would continue. Through grace. Through everyone we'd taught. Through changed laws and shifted cultures. That continues forever. He died peacefully. Home. Surrounded by family. His last words were to me. Thank you. For seeing me. For teaching me. For choosing me. Thank you for learning. For growing. For building with me. Then he was gone. 52 years of marriage. Starting with near destruction. Ending with peace. The funeral was huge. Hundreds of people. All with stories. Marcus taught me to value my wife. Marcus helped me see my own contributions. Marcus changed how I think about partnership. Marcus saved my marriage. Over and over. A man who'd almost destroyed his marriage became someone who saved others. That's redemption. That's growth. That's what's possible when people choose to learn. Change. To do better. I spoke at his funeral. Told the whole story. The notebook. The invoice. The near end. The new beginning. Everything. Marcus wasn't perfect. Neither am I. But we learned. We grew. We changed together. That's what he'd want you to remember. Not that he figured it out. That he tried. That he kept trying. That trying matters more than perfection. Standing ovation. For a funeral. For a story. For a life well lived despite rocky beginnings. That's legacy. Not perfect story. Real story. With all its messiness and growth and eventual redemption. I lived alone for the first time in 52 years. Strange. Hard. Also okay. I had tools. Marcus had taught me. I was whole alone. Just also had chosen partnership. Now choosing solitude. Different. Not worse. Grace visited often. Brought the girls. Brought Jamie. Filled the house with noise and life and continuation. How are you doing, Mom? Missing him. But okay. We built something good. That doesn't disappear because he did. Your story keeps helping people. Every day. New messages on the foundation website. People thanking you both. That's good. That's what it was for. What will you do now? Live. Right, maybe. Spend time with grandkids. Keep teaching when asked. Keep learning. Keep being whole. That's good, Mom. That's really good. She understood. The work wasn't done just because Marcus was gone. Continues. Through me. Through her. Through everyone. Until it's so normal nobody thinks about it anymore. That's the dream. The goal. The reason for everything. Making fairness so obvious it's boring. So expected it's unremarkable. So normal it's invisible. Just how things are. How they should have always been. I wrote one more book. After the fight. Building fairness in long marriages. About our journey. All 52 years. The good and bad. The fights and growth. The near destruction and eventual peace. Publishers worried. People want happy stories. Or dramatic ones. Yours is both and neither. Publish it anyway. People need real stories. Not perfect ones. They did. It sold quietly. Steadily. Found its audience. People in long marriages. People struggling with fairness decades in. People who'd thought they'd figured it out then realized they hadn't. Reviews were personal. This is my marriage. You wrote my life. Thank you for showing that growth never stops. I'm 60 and just learned I need to change. Better late than never. My husband and I read this together. We're rewriting our partnership at 70. It's never too late. That's what mattered. Not bestseller lists. Not prizes. Not fame. Impact. Helping people see clearly. Giving them permission to change. Showing them change is possible. Always. Any age. After any amount of time. It's never too late to build fairness. To choose partnership. To do better. Never too late. Until it's too late. Then it's just too late. So do it now. Today. This moment. That's the message. The whole message. Start now. I died at 86. Peacefully. Same as Marcus. Surrounded by family. Grace held my hand. The twins, grown now with families of their own, stood by my bed. Jamie was there. Grandkids I'd watched grow up. Great-grandkids I'd barely known. All there. All because of choices Marcus and I made 64 years earlier. They fight. To build. My last thoughts were clear. We did good. We started broken. We built better. We taught others. We changed things. Not everything. Not perfectly. But meaningfully. The notebook and invoice. Symbols of near destruction. Became symbols of transformation. Proof that seeing clearly changes everything. That admitting mistakes matters. That choosing growth is always possible. I thought of young Sarah. Getting fired. Being handed that notebook. Standing at a crossroads between leaving and fighting. I'm glad she fought. Glad she built. Glad she didn't give up. Because everything that followed, all of it, came from that one choice. To demand better. To build fairness instead of accepting inequality. That was my last thought. That choice matters. Every single one. Small daily choices. Big crisis choices. All of them. Shaping lives. Shaping families. Shaping cultures. Choose well. Choose fairly. Choose consciously. Always. That's how we change the world. One choice at a time. Grace spoke at my funeral. Told our story. Her version. From a daughter's perspective. My mother almost left my father over a notebook. Instead, she stayed and demanded better. That choice changed our family. Changed thousands of families. Changed laws and policies and cultures. One woman. One choice. One demand for fairness. That's what she taught me. That's what I'm teaching my daughters. That fairness isn't given. It's built. Through conscious choices. Through daily effort. Through refusing to accept inequality even when it's easier. Through staying when you want to run, but only if staying means fighting for change. My mother fought. My father learned. Together they built something that outlived them. That continues through me. Through all of us. Through every person who uses their tools. Who remembers their story. Who chooses fairness over convenience. That's legacy. Not perfection. Progress. Passing forward what we learned. Building higher than the generation before. That's what she'd want. For all of us. To take what she taught and build further. Do better. Reach higher. Create fairness so normal our grandchildren can't imagine anything else. Standing ovation again. For a life. For a choice. For a fight worth fighting. That's how it should end. Not with perfection. With continuation. With the work going on. Forever. 20 years after my death, the Fair Labor Recognition Act passed. Federal law. Recognizing unpaid household labor as economic contribution. Crediting it toward Social Security. Protecting it in divorces. Valuing it officially. Grace was there when the president signed it. Holding a photo. Me and Marcus. Young and hopeful on our wedding day. Before the notebook. Before the invoice. Before everything we became. This is for them, she told reporters. For everyone who fought for fairness when nobody was watching. When it wasn't popular. When it seemed impossible. They made this possible. Now it's law. Now it's official. Now it's how things are. The law wasn't perfect. Never is. But it was progress. Real progress. Legal recognition that work is work. That value isn't only about paychecks. That contributions matter. All of them. Visible and invisible. Paid and unpaid. Everything. That's what Marcus and I fought for. Not for ourselves. Too late for us. For everyone else. For Grace's generation. For her kids' generation. For every generation after. So they'd have to fight a little less. So fairness would be a little more normal. So partnership would be a little more expected. That's legacy. Not monuments. Movement. Not buildings. Change. Not recognition. Impact. That continues. Forever. That's enough. More than enough. The foundation continues. Renamed in our memory. The Chan Institute for Economic Fairness. Running programs. Teaching courses. Doing research. Fighting for change. All funded by that $50,000 check Marcus gave me 60 years ago. Grown through investment. Through donations. Through support from thousands of people who believed what we believed. That fairness matters. That visibility matters. That seeing clearly changes everything. Grace ran it until she couldn't. Then her daughters took over. Then their children. Generation after generation. Carrying forward the work. The mission. The vision. Of a world where all work is valued. Where all contributions are recognized. Where partnership is expected and fairness is normal. Not there yet. But closer. Always closer. 'Cause people keep trying. Keep choosing. Keep building. That's the real story. Not about me and Marcus. About everyone. Everyone who decides fairness matters. Who chooses to see clearly. Who demands better. Who builds partnerships instead of accepting inequality. Everyone who uses the tools we built. Who reads the books we wrote. Who learns from our mistakes. Who grows beyond our limitations. That's the real story. Collective. Ongoing. Unstoppable. Change. One person at a time. One choice at a time. One household at a time. Until the whole world is different. That's what Marcus and I started with, a notebook and an invoice. Not knowing where it would go. Just knowing we had to try. If this story of turning crisis into change kept you watching, hit that subscribe button right now. My favorite part was when Sarah created her invoice, showing Marcus the true value of invisible work. What was your favorite moment of fairness? Share it in the comments below. This is Her Revenge, where we tell stories of women who chose to fight for fairness instead of accepting inequality. We need more stories like this. Stories that show growth is possible. That change is real. That choosing to see clearly changes everything. Every subscription helps more people find these stories. Helps more women realize their worth. Helps more families build fairness. Subscribe. Comment. Or let's keep this movement growing. Because somewhere right now, someone is getting handed a notebook. Someone is being told to split everything 50-50 while their contributions stay invisible. Someone is standing at the same crossroads Sarah stood at 64 years ago, deciding whether to leave or fight. They need to hear this story. Need to know fighting is possible. Need tools to build fairness. That's why we made her Revenge. To share these stories. To build this community. To keep fighting for fairness. Together. Thank you for watching. Thank you for caring. Thank you for choosing to see clearly. Now go build fairness in your own life. Have the hard conversations. Use the tools. Demand better. You deserve it. Everyone deserves it. That's the lesson. That's the message. That's everything Sarah and Marcus learned and taught. All work has value. All contributions matter. All people deserve recognition. Fairness isn't about perfect splits. It's about conscious partnership. It's about seeing clearly. It's about choosing each other while staying whole. It's about building together. Every single day. Until fairness isn't revolutionary. Until it's just normal. Just how things are. That's the future we're building. One story at a time. One subscriber at a time. One changed household at a time. Join us. Subscribe to Her Revenge. Let's change the world together. Through stories. Through truth. Through refusing to accept inequality as inevitable. It's not inevitable. It's a choice. We can choose different. We can choose better. We can choose fairness. Starting right now. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for choosing to see. Now go. Build fairness. Change lives. Be the story someone else needs to hear. That's how movements grow. That's how the world changes. That's how we win.